And I'm sure there are times, maybe, before that in American history.
We'll look at it in a second.
I was born in 1984, so I can only tell you what I have seen since 1984. The president of the United States going out there and saying that the half of the country that disagrees with, he has a 38% approval rating, half the country, more than half, that disagrees with him, that these are people who are associated with.
Bro, Trump had a fucking sub 30 when he literally gassed protesters to go hold up an upside down Bible outside of a fucking church. Like, what are you talking about? That was literally worse. Like, what the fuck do you mean? And also, Brandon is rising up. Let's be real. Brandon is rising up right now. Rise up, Brandon. He's hitting above 40 now. He's swinging, dude. Doing great.
Pure evil. He speaks about his fellow Americans the way that George W. Bush spoke about Al-Qaeda. So let's actually go through the speech now. We're going to go through it in real detail. I want him to speak in his own words. It's amazing. So this thing opens. Remember, it's a taxpayer-sponsored event, which means he's using all of the power of the office. This geriatric dotard. He's using all the power of the office, including taxpayer dollars, and all the imagery of traditional American republicanism, small r republicanism, in order to prop up a demagogic piece of fascistic speech-making. So here he was at the very beginning, and Jill is walking him out to the podium because he now needs to be walked from place to place as our president. And here's what it sounded and looked like.
Wait, why are they? I mean, this doesn't look that. He's just walking normal. What the fuck?
So there he is. I mean, he can barely walk. She's leading him out there.
Wait, what?
If this doesn't feel like the death of the Republic to you, I don't know what would. He's in.
Wait, what? Bro, come on. What are you doing? Ben, what are you doing, bro? There's so much better shit. There's so much better shit that don't. Bro, this dude is dying, okay? He is literally like a walking corpse. Why did you use the one time you found him actually walking normally, dude? What the fuck? Yo, it's harder to find Joe Biden walking in a fucking normal fashion. And for some reason, Ben figured out, Ben could find one time, the one fucking time, he's on camera walking weirdly all the time. This is the one instance where he's like walking normal and he's like, look at him. He's dying.
Doesn't feel like the death of the Republic to you. I don't know what would. He's in front of Independence Hall. He can barely raise his hand to wave. Okay, and then she ushers him to the podium, and he moves her off, and then he begins.
I feel like the Daily Wire would be filing bankruptcy in the next half decade. Oh, fuck, that'd be so sick. Fuck yeah.
To speak. So he starts off.
Except this motherfucker's worth like $100 million or some shit, for the record. I mean, the Daily Wire is like caked up.
By welcoming his fellow Americans. And by his fellow Americans, he means everyone who agrees with him. This was a pure campaign speech, but it is laced through with the kind of seething hatred for his fellow Americans that I have not seen. Truly, it's despicable. Here's the President of the United States, Captain Unity over here.
My fellow Americans, I speak to you tonight from sacred ground in America. Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is where America made its Declaration of Independence to the world more than 2 centuries ago with an idea unique among nations, that in America, we're all created equal.
Okay, so first of all, you can hear that he's clearing his throat. He's not particularly healthy. But as you can see, this was angry Biden. There are two versions of Biden that are now present. There's really three versions of Biden that are present in American public life. There is doddering fool Biden, can't get a sentence out, can barely speak, is wobbling around. His aides are worried he's going to trip over a wire, falling off bikes, and all the rest. And that's one version of Biden. Then you have fake empathy Biden, where he goes into his low voice. He really cares. That's the stuff where in completely inappropriate context, he cites the tragic death of his son in order to try and garner empathy for himself while supposedly trying to sympathize with others, right? That's version number 2 of Biden. And then there's angry yelly Biden. What we got last night was angry yelly Biden. So he continues with what he says are the real message of America. What is the soul? He said he was going to speak about the soul of the nation in front of a blood red background in satanic lighting. Here he was talking about the soul of the nation. What is America really all about?
We the people, these two documents and the ideas they embody, equality and democracy, are the rock upon which this nation is built.
Okay, so the very basis of his speech, that equality and democracy are the key values of the United States, they are some of the key values of the United States, but he's actually using the wrong language. Because when he says equality, what he means is equity. Right? He has made this very, very clear throughout his presidency. Equity means equality of outcome. It does not mean that you have equal rights under the Constitution. That is not what he cares about. He cares about equality of outcome. And if you oppose that, you're against equality. And when he says democracy, as it turns out, he does not mean.
Dude, he's so triggered, dude. I don't know what else to say. I mean, this is like semantics. It's language policing. He's picking apart like some of the most innocuous, insignificant parts of this to be like, dude, it's so crazy. That's so crazy. He said equity. He said equity. He wants equality of outcome. This is communism. It's so, I don't know what to say about it other than like, I don't know what to say. I don't know why he's like losing his fucking shit over this. I mean, I guess he has to make content for this. Like, this is what he has to do. They were able to convince everyone that Donald Trump didn't mean what he said, so they're doing the same thing with Biden. You can't even do anything because Biden is so fucking boring. That's the problem. Like, Biden is not offering enough content to the Republicans to fucking lose their shit over. So they're losing their shit over some of the most like ridiculous, insignificant bullshit. Like, oh man, I can't believe he said equality. It's unacceptable. You know what? You know who else wanted equality? Communists. At the top of the hour, equally, communists want everyone to see the 6-second ad break. But of course, you can fight back against the top of the hour ad break. Hypothetically, let's say you have $5. It's September. You use that to subscribe to the HasanAbi broadcast. Hypothetically, that way, you would no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Also, hypothetically, let's say that...
mean the kind of republicanism, small r republicanism, that is discussed in the Constitution of the United States. The truth is, if you look at the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States, the key messages truly are liberty and republicanism, not equality.
Jaded Jago, thank you for the 5 subs. The 5G vaccine for QAnon teens. Thank you for the 5 subs. Wait, what the fuck is this?
The kind of republicanism, small r republicanism, that is democracy, as it turns out, he does not mean the kind of republicanism, small r republicanism, that is discussed in the Constitution of the United States. The truth is, if you look at the Declaration of Independence...
Yeah, no, totally. That's a fun little substitution. Okay, that's like small d democratism, like the Democratic Party. I love that. Thank you, Ben. He's saying like the true nature of American democracy is not democracy, like the small d democracy is in the name, but republicanism, you know, like the one that the Republican Party upholds, which is also in the name. Yeah, no, actually.
The Constitution of the United States, the key messages truly are liberty and republicanism, not equality and democracy.
Yeah, no, not equality. America's never been about equality or democracy, actually. It's bullshit. Why would you say America's about democracy and equality? Dude, do you think someone cares about this? Are you out of your fucking mind? No, dude, come on. This is just team sports. The only people that will look at this fucking nerd, like slobbering all over this shit, losing his fucking mind, are going to be actual annoying weirdos, just like just as annoying as Ben. This has real young Republican debate club energy, okay? Yeah, technically America is not a democracy. Its values have never been about equality and democracy. It's like, bro, those are positive values regardless of how you try to say America is not about that, okay? Like, good luck cutting an argument saying that America is about like upholding Republican values of the Republic and not about fucking democracy and equality. What are you saying right now? Those are positive things, okay? We are taught from a very, very early age that, you know, democracy is a good thing and all the other methods of control are bad. All the other methods of governance are bad. It's also a good thing to have equality, okay? So what the fuck are you trying to do here? What are you trying to say here? That like it's actually unconstitutional. Null Void Face, thank you for the 5, get the subs. Family Jules 11, thank you for the 5, get the subs.
Equality and democracy are hallmarks of the French Revolution. Because in the French Revolution, the whole idea was that it was égalité, liberté, fraternité. It was pure democracy.
Damn, you're saying Biden's gay and French. Okay, that's unacceptable. Okay, he brought it back.
Democracy was mob rule. The founders very much feared the idea of mob rule.
Mob rule. Democracy is mob rule.
Culminating in a powerful centralized figure who was able to do whatever he wanted without any of the checks and boundaries of the Constitution of the United States. That's what they feared. And that's what Joe Biden represents. So understand, when he says equality and democracy, you're hearing equality of rights and democratic Republican rule under the checks and balances of the Constitution. That's not what he means. What he means by equality and democracy is something very different. He means equity and mob rule. Those are the things that he's actually standing for. But again, what he's doing is he's hijacking. This whole speech was about hijacking traditional American images and turning them on their head, right? Independence Hall is now blood red. Equality and democracy, if you are in favor of a limited government and equality of right.
I mean, he's just saying democracy is not good. Like, he openly said it. I don't need to, like, address it. I don't need to tell you that that is a psychotic thing to say. Ben is doing it for me. So I don't even feel the need to address this at this point, right? Like, we all get what he's saying. He's saying democracy is not good. Democracy is mob rule. Okay, well, if you are considering majoritarian rule, the democratic rule, to be mob rule, then you're advocating for what? The tyranny of minority? A minoritarian government? Which, of course, yes, that is what Ben is advocating for. That is also low-key, what the Founding Fathers did want. They wanted only 35, or not 35, sorry, only white men who own land to be able to fucking vote. That's part of the reason why they made the Senate the way it is, right? That's why they had the Electoral College. That was straight up true. That is what they wanted. But theoretically speaking, the way that we promote American democracy is not by pointing out those things. As a matter of fact, when I point out those things, Ben will turn around and say, that's bad. You're doing CRT. You're doing critical race theory. Okay? So, I don't know what else to say about this. Like, yeah, Ben and I are in agreement that the Founding Fathers were kind of dog shit. I mean, well, he doesn't think that. He thinks that they were good for wanting to undermine democratic rule. But, he thinks it's good.
And you're interested in a checks and balances system that hems in the power of a centralized bureaucratic state. This means, according to Joe Biden, you are against the founding ideals of the country. The battle.
Damn, that's so terrifying. Oh, shit. Wait, I closed the fucking Themasius playlist. That's terrifying, folks. That's terrifying. Tucker Carlson also did 21 minutes on this. I mean, I want to see more of
Joe
this,
Biden,
though.
when he says that his political opponents are the font head of all evil in the universe, when he says that, you have to understand he really likes dissent. He likes having these big, complicated conversations. He likes the give and take of American politics, you traitorous bastards, you.
I believe in the give and take of politics, in disagreement and debate and dissent. We're a big, complicated country. But democracy endures only if we, the people, respect the guardrails of the republic. Only if we, the people, accept the results of free and fair elections. Only if we, the people, see politics not as total war, but mediation of our differences. Democracy cannot survive when one side believes there are only two outcomes to an election. Either they win or they were cheated. And that's where the MAGA Republicans are today.
You spent four...
Bro, you can't even fucking say that Republicans are like shitty losers that fucking cry foul and cry to the refs when they lose the game without every Republican who is literally doing that turning around and being like, that's fascism. I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you called it out as it is. That's literally fascism. Like, dude, then don't be a fucking bitch. Don't be a fucking bitch. Don't be so bitch made and fucking cry about the elections being stolen nonstop. Tom Cotton literally said ranked choice voting is fucking a theft because because there were two Republican candidates and they split the fucking vote, and a Democrat won in Alaska. So now they're saying ranked choice voting is bad. It blows my fucking mind. I mean, they're pretty obviously and very openly stating that, like, anytime a Democrat wins, this election is going to be stolen. Okay? They're going to say that over and over again. I mean, they're saying it. They will continue saying it. It doesn't even matter. And it's not new. Donald Trump didn't actually invent this method, okay? This has been a foundational plank of Republican messaging strategy for a very long time. It's not new, right? People think it's new. People claim it's new. It's not. They've been undermining the integrity of American elections, claiming that the American elections are always stolen by undocumented immigrants in an effort to justify more voter suppression methods for a very long time. This is what the Republicans have been doing. It's the best way to create a problem where no such problem exists, specifically so you can turn around and say, we need to take action against this problem that doesn't exist, by the way, that there is no empirical evidence for whatsoever. As a matter of fact, the only empirical evidence that exists basically completely diminishes that idea that, like, American elections are unsafe or unsecure, completely made up. So it's not new. There's plenty of historical precedent for this. And calling that out and calling that out as a bad thing and calling that out as, like, legitimately a threat to whatever the American democracy is supposed to be is not divisive. It's just the truth. You can't say the truth is divisive, okay? Because it hurts your fucking feelings. That's ridiculous.
For years and tens of millions of dollars on the theory that either Hillary Clinton won or you were cheated. I'm sorry, Democrats have not accepted the results of a presidential election.
That's not true. That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. That is complete bullshit. As much as I hate the fucking blue anon, like, oh, Russiagate psychopathic nonsense, they still fucking took the L. Hillary called and conceded the night of. What the fuck are you talking about? Donald Trump, the things that Donald Trump did are incomprehensible in comparison to what Hillary Clinton did. She's a fucking loser. She sucks. Okay? But if you use the poll that you're going to show right now, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. He's going to say, like, oh, if you ask the Democrats, like, was Hillary cheated? Yes, an overwhelming majority of Democrats said that. Okay? The idea that the Democratic Party across the board did not immediately concede and follow along with the regular procedure of the elections is so ridiculous, though.
It went the other way for them since about 1988. They thought the 2000 election was stolen. They did not accept it.
It was legitimately, that was legit. That was stolen. A riot happened. It's called the Brooks Brothers riot. Jeb Bush, the brother of the person who was running for fucking president, George W. Bush, literally held up the process. They were fucked up ballots. And Republicans, some of who are literally on the Supreme Court now, went in physically and body blocked the fucking voters, the people at the polling station, from counting the ballots. That is insanity. That is a real thing that happened. Why are we acting like that's not a real thing that happened? What the fuck? Unless you think that literally a old Jewish community straight up voted by insane margins for a white supremacist, which is the outcome, which was one of the main reasons why people were like, wait a minute, this makes no sense. And even if that's the case, even if they did do that, why couldn't they do a re-election? Why did the Supreme Court actually allow the recount not to happen? You're not allowed to say that, lol. Wait, what do you mean I'm not allowed to say that?
That George W. Bush was a legitimate president. 2004 was supposedly an outgrowth of 2000 and also diebold voting machines. In 2016, Donald Trump was a tool of the Russians, and it was Facebook memes that got him elected.
Yeah, that shit was dumb. The idea that like Facebook memes can move the needle. That shit is dumb as fuck, okay? That was dumb. I agree. But there is a fundamental difference between Democrats being like the outside electoral interference played a role in like propaganda played a role in like changing the fucking outcomes of the American election is insanely different than being like, no, there were fake voters. And every fucking polling station had Democratic Party operatives that basically counted to like give fake votes to the Democratic Party out of nowhere. Like you're insane. Like these are different layers of conspiracy. Blue Anon is weird. Okay, there is a very real, very robust Blue Anon movement. People's brains have been broken by MSNBC. A lot of your parents who are liberals straight up think that like Russia did do this like major conspiracy and change the outcome of the election, and Donald Trump is Putler's bitch or whatever the fuck, right? That's dumb as fuck for sure. But if you ask those people, was Donald Trump the president? They're gonna say yes. The same concept does not exist in the Republican Party for the first fucking year of Biden's presidency.
Don't lecture us about accepting elections when you still say that Stacey Abrams is the rightful governor of Georgia after she lost by 50,000 votes in her last gubernatorial race. Yes, it's really bad when you have both sides rejecting the results of elections. But let's stop pretending that this is a one-sided issue. It is not. It is bad when both sides do it. Democrats seem to have a rule. It's that it's really bad when you do it. It's great when we do. So he continues along these lines. Right? You can't love democracy only when you win. This line is so astonishing coming from this leader of this party. Here we go.
You can't love your country only when you win. It's fundamental. American democracy only works only if we choose to respect the rule of law and the institutions that were set up in this chamber behind me.
Wow. Terrifying. Terrifying. Unacceptable. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a president saying this? Unacceptable. I hate this.
Only if we respect our legitimate political differences. I will not stand by and watch.
Bro, he's literally saying you got to respect our legitimate political differences, which, by the way, also implies like the same for the Democratic Party too. Like he's saying we got to respect the Republican Party's legitimate political differences. Like it's so stupid. First of all, their differences are not even legitimate, okay? Like even in the fucking argument that Ben is trying to cut, saying like this is so divisive, Brandon is literally still being like, yo, we got some differences in opinion, Jack.
Will not the will of the American people be overturned by wild conspiracy theories. I will not stand by and watch elections in this country stolen by people who simply refuse to accept that they lost. I will not stand by and watch the most fundamental freedom in this country, the freedom to vote, and have your vote counted and be taken from you and the American people.
There are people, did you know, who are actively attempting to prevent you from voting. Now, one of the things that's amazing here is that there has been a bipartisan possibility of a bill that's been brought up by Mitch McConnell in the Senate, and that is change the Electoral Count Act so that there is no possibility of rejecting certified votes from the states. The Democrats won't pass it because they want to run on these issues. They want to pretend that their opponents hate democracy and then run on that.
What? What?
Change the electoral of a bill. Now, one of the things that's amazing here is that there has been a bipartisan possibility of a bill that's been brought up by Mitch McConnell in the Senate, and that is change the Electoral Count Act so that there is no possibility of rejecting certified votes from the states. The Democrats won't pass it because they want to run on these issues. They want to pretend that their opponents hate democracy.
That's insane. First of all, one, he said that he hates democracy like over and over again. And two, the idea that Democrats have not tried to pass actively numerous fucking Voting Rights Act restorations, for example, that Republicans have body blocked in perpetuity is so fucking stupid. Here, let's take a look at the Electoral Count Act reform, by the way. It obviously has some flaws, and it is worth, I think, discussing. The Senate Minority Leader said Wednesday. This is new. Okay, this is was it Susan Collins? This was like Susan Collins' shtick, right? Democrats are pursuing more sweeping election reforms and federalization of elections, but some lawmakers in both parties are also suggesting there may be more modest reforms that could pass on a bipartisan basis. Centrist Democratic Senators Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema both endorsed pursuing the work on Electoral Count Act on Wednesday, as did a number of Republican senators. It obviously has some flaws. Senate Democrats plan to hold votes on a broader election reforms by Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is threatening to change the Senate rules if McConnell leads another GOP filibuster. This is from January, January 5th. This is not new. Sorry. This was from a time when the Democrats were trying to do, what was it, HR 2? Like when they were pushing for, when the Democrats were pushing for their own voting rights restoration bill. The Electoral Count Act says you can rig the elections any way you want and then we'll count it accurately. Schumer said in an interview, he said he has very little hope for a bipartisan deal that includes the more comprehensive reforms his party is seeking to campaign finance and voter access. We've tried for 4 months and got no support. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Republicans will routinely put a watered down or downright awful bill. Okay? Republicans will often turn around and use an outright awful bill, right? To say, hey, we actually want voter reform too. We want electoral reform as well, just like you do, at a time when the Democrats are literally putting forward comprehensive reform for elections. And it's a tactic so that Ben Shapiro and the likes could turn around and fucking cry foul and say, look, you guys don't want it. You guys don't want it. We put forward a bill. It's like, why would they do that?
Democracy.
And not only that, but let me tell you, you know what the real bipartisan bill is? Any bill that the Democrats put forward. Because I remember when Democrats were pushing for election reforms, they literally conceded to voter ID. Okay? They straight up conceded to fucking voter ID and like other Republican demands before Republicans even got to the table. And Republicans were never going to get to the table to begin with. McCarthy's open to the Electoral Count Act reform. This is 120. What do you mean? This is from 120. This is still old. This is old shit. Democrats will be like, we need to help the Poor Act. We're going to do an act that like gives $10 to every poor person. Republicans will turn around and be like, no, we're going to do the same thing. We're actually putting forward a Republican legislation called We Need to Help the Poor Act Better. Okay? And then they'll turn around and the act itself is like actually, sending poor people to the fucking, to the biofuel melting station. But they're like, but it's in the name. What do you mean? It's in the name. We're just going to tax them and then kill them. But like, you don't want it. You don't want it to happen. That's so weird. Anyway, let's continue.
And then run on that. When he says, this line is so amazing coming from the Democrats. You can't love democracy only when you win. You know what the polls show? The polls show over and over and over again that Republicans remain patriotic. They say they love the country, even when Democrats win.
I'm sorry. You are such a lame ass dude. Polls show that 9 out of 10 Republicans love the country, even when Democrats win. Like, what the fuck are you saying, dude? What legitimate poll is looking at this? What is patriotism? Like, what does a Republican think is a patriotic value versus what does anyone else think is a patriotic value? half the Republican Party's assessment of what patriotism is probably might not even align with yours, you dumb bitch. Shut the fuck up. That's such a dumb God, this is so bad. This is like the worst kind of argument you could ever fucking conduct. Has nothing to do with like Brandon and his speech anyway.
Democrats change their opinions on how much they love the country based almost solely on when they are winning and losing. This has been a long-time feature of American politics. This is true under...
Bro, Republicans literally, under a Democratic presidency, Republicans tried to do an insurrection, man. What the fuck are you saying? They literally lost and then turned around and stormed Congress, bro. What the fuck? Who gives a shit if they're like, yeah, I'm patriotic, brother? They also say heritage, not hate when it comes to the fucking Confederate flag. Who gives a shit? It's actually a patriotic insurrection, hypothetically. Also, the president was Republican at the time when they did the insurrection. So maybe they don't love their country that much.
Every Pew, Gallup, and every other poll that's ever been taken, when it comes to feelings of patriotism, Republicans are very consistent that they love the country. Democrats only love the country when Barack Obama is president. And then when Donald Trump wins, boom, the patriotism just drops off the table. When he says that we have to work to respect the rule of law.
Who cares? What? 9 out of 10 Republicans say they love vanilla ice cream. Okay. Cool. What does like the Republican fifis of patriotism have anything to do with like Brandon's fucking take? Bro, you can't simultaneously show Gallup data on how patriotic Republicans' feelings are towards America without a well-established understanding, a universal value of patriotism that we agree on, which we don't. Because you can look at certain things that the Republican Party considers patriotic, like the fucking Confederate flag, which is a separatist, white supremacist, loser flag that they fucking uphold in the South. Like, they literally say they're patriotic while fucking repping the stars and bars, brother. How is that patriotic? You fucking took an L and you still want to secede. You still want to separate. That's not patriotic.
And the institutions that were set up in the chamber, he despises those institutions. He has called for the end of the filibuster, for example. He is somebody who says that the Supreme Court of the United States is not doing its job unless it just greenlights what he is doing. He has done stuff he himself has declared illegal. But he's an institutionalist, don't you know? I mean, this is gaslighting at the very, very highest level. And again, when he says that there are people in this country who are attempting to suppress the right to vote, that is such a lie. What exactly is the evidence that he has that millions of votes are being not counted and thrown out? It was Republican officials in Georgia who certified the election. It was Republican officials in Arizona who certified the election. It was Republican officials in Wisconsin and in Pennsylvania who certified the election. It was Vice President Mike Pence who certified the election.
Wait, yeah, exactly. Wait, so he agrees with... Oh, God, he's such a fucking lib, dude. He's hopped up on liberalism. I mean, he's right. That's what Biden says too. That's actually, wait, Ben is upset at Biden while simultaneously agreeing with the underlying message from the Brandon camp, which is exactly what he said. There are good Republicans out there, but the MAGA Republicans, the Trump Republicans are fucking crazy. They're undermining the election. They're undermining the results of the election. They're undermining democracy, whatever. That's exactly what Brandon said.
The election. The vice president to Donald Trump. It was Mitch McConnell who certified the election. But he labels all those people MAGA Republicans.
That's not true. No, he doesn't. He should, but he doesn't. Because he's a pussy. He should do that, but he doesn't. Why are you... What?
Every single one of those people. Because again, it's not about the thing he says it's about. It's about the people who oppose him are the enemy of the country. Okay, and you can tell this because then he links it to his current political program. Because then about 3/4 of the way through the speech, it just turns into him listing off all of the amazing things that he has done. Because if you oppose those amazing things that he has done, this means you're an enemy of the Republic. So he talks about how he is the light that has emerged from the darkness. He, in his grim, elderly visage, barely able to speak, without either being jacked up to heights of adrenaline that make him nearly incomprehensible, or he falls asleep like he's suffering from narcolepsy. He is saying that he is the light that has emerged from, he is the messianic figure that has emerged from the darkness. He said, flanked, I can't get over this, flanked by a blood red Independence Hall.
Throughout our history, America's often made the greatest progress.
I love this.
Coming out
I mean,
of
this
some
is
of our
hilarious,
darkest
dude.
moments, like your hearings in that bullhorn.
Okay, so here I think we should point out that about 2/3 of the way through the speech, there was a guy in a bullhorn who was audible on the audio, and what he was screaming was F Joe Biden. And that's who he was screaming. And Joe Biden says that the darkest moments of our history are the things coming out of that bullhorn. People saying they don't like him. That's the darkest moments of our
He just tried to freestyle, brother. It's not the worst thing. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure the underlying fear of institutionalists, which I am not one, fuck the institutions, is the underlying fear in that entire speech is not that like some guy in a bullhorn is saying fuck Joe Biden, you fucking idiot. It's that they just refuse to play ball. Okay? You can't play a game if the other side is refusing to go by the rules. If they're regularly changing the rules, and even then, if they lose, they're like, no, actually, I declare this game null and void. How are you going to fucking do that? You can't do the thing that you're supposed to do.
our history. And you know what the progress...
Wait, did Biden actually say... Wait, hold on. Does anyone have the full speech? Ben is clip chimping. Biden literally said he has the right to do that with the bullhorn. Oh, that makes it even funnier. That's so funny. I didn't even fucking watch the full thing because, you know, too triggered. Wait, where's the bullhorn part, though?
The pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country. They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th, brutally attacking law enforcement, not as extreme Republicans, but there's no
here, by the way, I just want to make sure.
Majority Republicans are
I just want to make sure that you guys understand, like, Biden, here's how fucking tepid the speech was.
Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme. Clear up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these
so incredibly divisive, dude.
Mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
By the way, Donald Trump has 90% approval in the Republican Party, like, throughout his entire presidency. So just, like, remember that Donald Trump has always had and has maintained a 90% plus approval in the Republican Party throughout his entire presidency, significantly higher than the Democratic Party's approval of Joe Biden. So just understand that. Just remember that. It is fucking ridiculous saying that, like, oh, it's different, this is different, this is different. It's not fucking different. I'm just letting you know. The clip with the bullhorn.
Asking every American to join me. Throughout our history, America's often made the greatest progress coming out of some of our darkest moments, like you're hearing that bullhorn. I believe we can and must do that again, and we are. But as fellow Americans, look, our democracy isn't perfect. It always has been. Notwithstanding those folks you hear on the other side there. They're entitled to be outrageous. This is a democracy. But history...
He's literally saying, dude, he's so fucking lame, dude. Like, he's literally saying they're entitled to do that.
And common sense. Good manners is nothing they've...
Oh, by the way, that was the other big clip chimp. It's like red, white, and blue for the record. Like the door is white, it's red on the sides, and then blue for America. But they only saw the red, so everyone was like freaking out over it. It's like, what's that thing? Like there are so many examples of this in like old school comics even, where it'll be like a guy that's like, it looks like the shadow is stabbing someone, but actually when you fucking, and that's what the media looks at. But then if you pull back a little bit, you realize that you know what I mean? The forced perspective meme. You're talking about the RT, Al Jazeera, CNN meme, which is the same picture? You mean this? I mean, no, that's just how Republicans operate. This is but it's kind of like that. Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, look, this. This is what I was talking about. It's such a fucking stupid meme, but I love it. It's deep. I know it's deep. It's wild that one mediocre billionaire managed to fuck up a centuries-old political party. Like, just that mind-boggling. No, dude. He didn't. It's not one billionaire that fucked it up. No, he just kicked it into high gear. This is what you guys don't understand. Trump is not the reason, man. Democracy is mob rule that endangers individual rights. I love that. I love when the Libertarian Party does that, by the way. When they just like come out and are openly like, hey, you know, as libertarians, we just hate democracy. All Republicans want to do is whine about wokeness. Libertarians have solutions. Repeal the Civil Rights Act. God, they're such a fucking funny meme overall. I love that. Oh yeah, monarchist libertarians, that's a real thing. Like Boo Boo Bennett, she's in favor of monarchy.
Progress that came out of the darkest moments of our history. That progress was him. He is the progress. He is the man on the donkey riding into Judea. He is. You thought he was just a venal, corrupt old politician who's lusted after power his entire life, and now that he's gained it, is gripping it with the fiery force of 1,000 suns. You thought that's who he was. But no, actually, he is a light bringer. Like his predecessor, he's a light bringer. So he compares himself to, once again, the MAGA Republicans. And amazing stuff here.
MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair. They spread fear and lies. Lies told for profit and power. But I see a different America. An America with an unlimited future. An America that's about to take off.
I mean, that's an amazing statement. So his opponents see carnage, darkness, and despair. This entire speech has been about how half the American population wishes to destroy the democracy in which we live. But don't worry, it's his opponents who see carnage and darkness and despair. He's hopeful, you see. He's an optimist. What makes him optimistic? Well, what makes him optimistic is that he has spent more money than any president in the history of the world. What makes him optimistic is that he has rammed through useless package after useless package, bringing us to 40-year highs in inflation and the brink of a very serious recession in the United States. What makes him optimistic is things like pulling out of Afghanistan and subjecting 38 million people to the predations of the Taliban. I mean, all these things make him optimistic. It turns out that optimism is wrapped up. If you're optimistic about the country, it's because you love Joe Biden. It's just that simple. Here we go.
Just look around. I believe we could lift America from the depths of COVID, so we passed the largest economic recovery package since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I believe we could build a better America, so we passed the biggest infrastructure investment since President Dwight D. Eisenhower. And I believe we could create a clean energy future and save the planet. So we passed the most important climate initiative ever, ever, ever.
I love that he clipped out the claps too.
Right? So the light is his policy. It turns out the cure is not saying that people win elections. That's not the cure. The cure is not even rejecting Donald Trump. The cure, according to Joe Biden, is embrace all of the things I want. And if you don't embrace all of the things that I want, this means you are standing with the white supremacists and the extremists. He makes this absolutely explicit in the next minute of the speech.
No matter what the white supremacists and the extremists say, I made a bet on you, the American people, and that bet is paying off, proving that from darkness, the darkness of Charlottesville, of COVID, of gun violence, of insurrection, we can see the light. Light is now visible.
Dude, it's funny that like Democrats are doing Biden is doing like 1/5 of what Trump did throughout the 4 fucking years and significantly worse shit on top of that. But like just speech pattern wise, right? Like Democrats are doing 1/5 of it, and the Republicans are literally like MSNBC. They're worse than MSNBC. They're losing their fucking minds, dude. They're like, I can't believe he said it. Like he said that we can actually make America better. What does that mean? That must mean that he doesn't think America is good right now. I can't believe he said we should make America great again. That's completely unacceptable.
Accepted the results of a presidential election.
That's not true. That's bullshit.
It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not.
Okay, dude. Fucking Austin Ox. How dare you, dude? How fucking dare you? Okay? Son of a gun.
Light that will guide us forward, not only in words, but in actions. Actions for you, for your children, for your grandchildren, for America. Even in this moment.
Okay, stop it right there. When he says, well, I mean, again, the justice.
Okay, this is boring. We're done with this. Let's look at Fox News on Biden's speech, but make the footage Trump.
Disgusting speeches in what was one of the most divisive and disgusting speeches ever.
To use those Marines as a political prop.
Was guilty of lazy stereotyping of everyone who doesn't agree with him, smearing people.
None of the major networks took the comments from the president.
If he wanted to speak out against extremism, he would have called out extremism on both sides of the aisle.
And I just can't imagine anything more divisive and more dangerous coming from a president.
It's an angry old man yelling at the camera.
And when you don't have a record to run on, then you've got to scare individuals and you've got to scare the American people.
I think he is doing everything he can to gin up something so that people do get out of hand.
And to put the military into a political speech. And his demagoguery is almost always along racial lines. This is why he is so bitterly divisive.
I'm very disappointed that the president would call people who don't agree with him those kind of names.
Having Marines standing behind him in which he's engaging in political attacks.
Easily the most disgraceful speech from a president in recent decades.
There's more. Give me more. I want to see more. They're saying Biden is a Hitlerian. That's nice. Okay, that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene said, right? Wait, I want more. There's more. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Republicans.
I think they're
calling their political opponents fascist, because Fox and the Republicans are losing their minds over Joe Biden calling MAGA semi-fascist. But they never called their political opponents fascists, right? Let's
I think
take a
they're
look.
Fascists. I think they want to use the power of the state to change the rest of us.
Falsely branding a political protest as an insurrection, that is the definition of authoritarianism, of fascism.
Their tactics are fascistic. The left wants power because that is essentially their state of grace.
The blackout of information by the left is pure fascism.
Turns out there are fascists in charge.
Nancy Pelosi is fascistic.
They're using, frankly, fascist policies to silence the right.
They use cancel culture as a tool to impose their fascism on us.
Well, I won't say fascists, but yeah, fascists.
This is fascism. This is fascism of the left.
You were talking about fascism. There's no other word to describe this. This is fascism.
That's right, folks.
I think they're fascists.
That's right. I mean, that's just like that. That's just always what it is. It's just fucking shit slinging. They're saying they are upset that Joe Biden said the racist, reactionary, white supremacist fucking party is fascist. Here's some real fascism, though. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for the real fascism? Let's take a look.
And for those brave right-wing Americans who say it's all about keeping America's independent and safe. If you want to fight against the country, you need an F-15. You need something a little more than a gun.
Yes!
No, I'm not joking. Think about that. You need an F-15. You need something a little more than a gun.
Yes!
I'm not joking. Think about this. Think about the rationale we use. That's you. And for those brave...
That's right! Dark Brandon returns. Okay. Everybody knows the real fascism is the top of the hour ad break. Okay? That's it. That's just the real fascism. That's what the real fascism is. But you can fight it. You can defeat it by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime, or $4 because it's September, or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You get one free Prime subscription a month. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Okay, that's how you get an uninterrupted broadcasting experience, folks. I love these. These are so fucking good.
In what was one of the most divisive and
the idea that these fucking baboons have a leg to stand on with respect to like what is considered fascistic speech or whatever the fuck, or being upset that the president said that like their actions are semi-fascist, like that's unacceptable. And then don't do fascism. Bear Slays, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads. Here's the 1 minute ad break now, by the way. And Mr. Rad CL, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Yeah. Nick Adams, I don't know if this is real or not, okay? I mean, it's really funny, but I don't know if it's real or not. Bork Dolph, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Ray Donnell, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Yes, he deleted it though. I need to see it because here, this was pretty funny. Rod Dreher, quote tweeting Jennifer pro-privacy Rubin, Biden's Philadelphia speech met the moment. Mass arrest should come next. This tweet has been deleted. Now, Jennifer Rubin sucks. She is one of those like, conservative Democrats. She is one of those like never Trump Republicans, right? She didn't say that because that would be ridiculous to say. It'd be kind of funny and cool to say. And I don't think Jennifer pro-privacy Rubin has ever been funny or cool. Unless on accident she's talking about like, I don't know, having sex with Andrew Cuomo after a nice Italian dinner at the governor's mansion. Rod Dreher, of course, everyone's favorite adult convert to Catholicism, gets out of, goes crazy with 11,000 fucking likes, by the way, saying the quiet part out loud, then quickly deleting. Null Void Face, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago maid, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Now, the best part about it is he goes, I just found out that mass arrest tweet purportedly by Jennifer Rubin was fake. I still deleted it, and I apologize to her. Still, the fact that so many people found it plausible says something. Yeah, it does, but not what you think it says. It says you're a fucking idiot, okay? It says that you think that these feckless, institutionalist, cowardly fucking Democrats are actually going to use those institutions to like mass arrest Republicans. That is, and I hate to say this, okay? I'm not being ableist here. That's mental illness. You have been broken, okay? You've been brain broken into thinking that some of the funniest, most cowardly, like idiotic nerds in the liberal Democratic Party are going to straight up fucking mass arrest you. Yeah, it does say something. If it could trick me, let's all be careful. Yeah. Someone said they got my nose. I believed them until I looked in the mirror. Says a lot that I didn't realize that it was a lie at first. Like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.